My roommate pushed me onto the bed and kissed me. The other one stood by, frantic. You're going to kiss his lips raw. When is it my turn? I was watching a movie in my dorm room when my roommate caught me. The self-important jerk Mark started laying on the sarcasm. So you like men, don't tell me you have a crush on me. Just the thought is disgusting. I shot back a cold laugh. If you don't own a mirror, you can at least look at your own piss. We gay guys have standards, you know. If I were going to like someone, it would be Julian Shen. Who the hell are you? The words had barely left my mouth when I saw Julian standing at the doorway, a faint blush on his face. And behind him, Alex Jiang, his expression as dark as thunder. My heart dropped. It was bad enough that my big mouth had been overheard by the subject of my crush, but his number one admirer had heard it all too. Only the idiot Mark was still oblivious. You think you have a shot with Julian. The best you could ever be is his pathetic little simp. I fell silent for a moment. The word simp was meant to hit me, but it had clearly wounded someone else too. I'd known Alex Jiang was in love with Julian Shen since the first day of school. The two weren't even in the same major, but Alex orbited Julian constantly, hiding behind the guise of being just friends. He was basically the team mascot. Sure enough, Alex's face soured. If you're going to argue, get the hell out. Just then the alarm I'd set for my part-time job went off. I quickly changed and got ready to leave. As I walked out, I heard Mark eagerly spilling my gossip to Alex. Hey Alex, did you know Leo's a gay? He likes men, it's so gross. Alex kicked a chair in frustration and snarled, get lost. I did like Julian. He was gentle, thoughtful, and had a face that was both beautiful and sweet. A lot of people at school liked Julian. If it weren't for Alex guarding him like a mother hen, who knows how many admirers would be swarming him. Yesterday, I'd walked in on him changing. He wasn't just pale enough to glow. He had a narrow waist, long legs, and a perfectly defined 8-pack. His face had already won me over, but his body was on a whole other level. He was every gay guy's dream. My heart had been fluttering all night, and today I just couldn't resist looking for a little something to watch. I'd finally found a video with a pale-skinned bottom who looked a bit like Julian. The moment I clicked play, that moron Mark ripped open my bed curtain. I couldn't help but take out my anger at Mark on the lemon in my drink, crushing it violently. As I mashed it, a thought struck me. My laptop on my bed, I don't think I closed it, but whatever. My sexuality was already out in the open. What was a movie? Besides, my headphones were plugged in. As long as they didn't open my curtain, they shouldn't find out. The time was approaching 10 o'clock. I handed a taro boba tea to the girl in front of me. She took it and said a little shyly, hey, can I get your number? I played it cool, but inside I was ecstatic. See, I knew I was at least a little good looking. Mark should be here to see this. Too bad I'm gay. Just as I was thinking of how to turn her down, a grim voice came from behind her. He's gay. And just like that, I was outed against my will. The girl who had just asked for my number wasn't disappointed at all. In fact, she looked excited. She and her friend exchanged a knowing smile, then walked away happily with their drink. I looked at Alex, completely baffled, wondering what had gotten into him. Alex ordered a pearl milk tea and then just stood there, watching me with a dark aura. My senior coworker also gave me a mysterious smile. Your boyfriend is quite the possessive type. Oh no, they've gotten the wrong idea. After my shift ended, I walked out of the boba shop. Alex followed behind me, casually sipping his tea. I stopped and turned to face him. All right, what do you want? The warm yellow streetlights cast shadows on Alex's face. His features were sharp, his eyes intense, and his resting face looked fierce. He closed the distance between us, step by step. Then a cold liquid poured over my head. A few boba pearls slid down my neck and into my shirt. He looked at me, his eyes like ice. Get rid of those filthy thoughts. Julian is not someone you can touch. I wiped my face, unfazed, and plucked a pearl from my collar, shoving it into his mouth. Who do you think you are? You followed Julian around all day, drooling over him like everyone else. Besides, you're the filthy one, you litter. I pointed at the empty cup on the ground. Alex's expression faltered, as if I'd thrown him off his rhythm. But he quickly put his ferocious mask back on. He chewed on the pearl. If you dare harass Julian in the dorm, he kept chewing, or watch any more of those disgusting movies. His hand shot out, and I felt a sharp pang below my waist. Alex threatened me between chews. I'll chop it off. I had to admit, the boba I made was perfectly chewy. Okay, so that's what this was about. He'd seen what was on my laptop. But it was still incredibly rude of him to open my bed curtain without permission. Suddenly, someone gasped nearby. I turned my head just in time to see a figure scurrying away, but that wasn't the main issue. Alex's hand was still there. He snatched his hand back awkwardly, picked up the cup from the ground, shot me a glare, and stormed off. When I got back to the dorm, Mark was playing games with his headphones on. I grabbed my toiletries and headed for the bathroom, running right into Julian, who had just finished showering. I felt a bit awkward, wondering if he'd seen the video. If he thought I was some kind of pervert. Julian frowned at me, his eyes glancing down at my chest. I was too flustered to greet him, so I just lowered my head and slipped into the bathroom. The air was still steamy and carried a faint, sweet scent, the same one that clung to Julian. I couldn't help but take a deep breath before pulling off my sticky white t-shirt. I had just taken off my pants when the bathroom door opened. I turned to see Julian's face. He was blushing slightly. "Sorry, I forgot my clothes." I followed his gaze to the laundry basket where his dirty clothes were. My heart felt like a bottle of soda had been shaken up inside it, fizzing with sour bubbles. "Julian," I said in a muffled voice, "it's true that I'm gay and I have a crush on you, but I'm not a pervert. I wouldn't take your things. You don't have to be on guard around me like I'm a thief." Julian avoided my eyes, looking away as he explained in a low voice, "I'm not on guard." I laughed at myself, feeling a wave of exhaustion. People's prejudices were an insurmountable chasm. Julian must think I'm ridiculous. I turned on the shower, letting the warm water cascade over me. I let out a long sigh. What a shitty life. I was basically the protagonist of a tragic drama. After my shower, though, I felt refreshed. If the world was going to make me gay, then I was going to turn the whole world into my personal playground. I felt like I could start a new life. Oh, crap. I forgot to bring my clothes. I looked at the laundry basket. It was empty. Fine, fine. I believe you, Julian. You're definitely not wary of me. Why else would you have taken my dirty clothes, too? Before, I would have just walked out naked to get my clothes, but after today, I didn't dare. I was mostly afraid that idiot Mark would think I was trying to seduce him. There were only 3 of us in the dorm. After a moment of hesitation, I decided to ask Julian for help. I called through the door, asking Julian to grab me some clothes. He agreed cheerfully, passing them through a crack in the door. From outside, Mark's sarcastic voice piped up again. "You gays sure have a lot of tricks up your sleeves." I rolled my eyes. Shaking out the clothes, I realized something was wrong. These looked like Julian's. Julian's gentle voice came from the other side. "I didn't want to go through your closet without permission. Just wear mine. The underwear is new." A warmth spread through my chest. Julian really was an angel, so gentle and considerate. It would be a damn shame if a pig like Alex ended up with him. I quickly got dressed. Julian looked tall and thin, but his boxers weren't small. I opened the bathroom door and immediately wanted to slam it shut again. Did I get water in my brain while I was showering? Why was I seeing that jinx Alex again? A hand pushed the door open. Fire was practically shooting from Alex's eyes. "Why are you wearing Julian's clothes?" I rolled my eyes at him. "Julian let me. What's it to you?" I swaggered out of the bathroom and saw Julian on the balcony, hanging up laundry. I was about to ask him where my dirty clothes went when I saw the dripping white boxers in his hand. My boxers. Julian looked at me, radiating a strange, domestic glow. It was no trouble, so I just washed them together. Behind me, I could hear the sound of Alex grinding his teeth. "Julian, you washed his underwear." Julian looked perfectly innocent. "We're all guys, what's the big deal?" Alex was furious. He glared at me. "Have you no shame, me? How is this my fault?" Julian finished with the laundry and stepped in front of me protectively. "Alex, don't always pick on Leo." Another wave of warmth washed over me. I couldn't help but praise Julian. "See, you're so gentle and reasonable. Not like some people who act like rabid dogs." Alex shot me a death glare, looked at Julian, and then stormed out without another word. I dried my hair and climbed into bed, only to notice that the empty bunk across from me was now piled high with stuff. The recently departed Alex returned, this time dragging a suitcase. He looked at me and gave a cold smirk. "Starting today, I'm living in this dorm too." I could feel the murderous intent behind his smile. This bastard really thought Julian was his wife, didn't he? And he was moving in to guard him from me. A competitive spark ignited in my heart. Fine. If that's how he wanted to play it, I'd make sure he knew what it felt like to be cheated on. I pictured it in my mind. I'm driving a luxury car, with Julian leaning against my shoulder like a delicate bird. Alex is chasing the car, crying, "Julian, don't go with him, Julian. What will I do without you?" I almost laughed out loud, but a sharp crash echoed through the room. A glass had rolled off Julian's bed, shattering on the floor. Alex was the first to rush over. "Julian, are you okay?" "I'm fine, just spilled some water." Julian started to climb down from his bed. Alex quickly stopped him, grabbing a broom. "Wait there, I'll sweep up the glass first." Julian agreed, then pulled back his own curtain and climbed directly over onto my bed. His voice was laced with a hint of grievance. "Leo, my bed is wet. You don't mind if I sleep with you, do you?" The air seemed to freeze. I almost burst out laughing. Alex's sweeping paused. Even Mark shot Alex a look of pity. It's no exaggeration to say the guy looked like he was about to shatter. The broom was thrown aside with force. Alex's face had a greenish tint. "Julian, if you didn't want me to move in, you didn't have to resort to this." My eyes darted between them, and I finally understood. So they were having a fight, and I was their pawn for entertainment. Alex stormed out of the dorm, slamming the door behind him. I looked at Julian, who was now smiling even more brightly. For some reason, a chill ran up my spine. He's finally gone. Julian's beautiful eyes stared at me. One hand cupped my chin while the other began to gently knead my earlobe. He leaned in close, whispering, "Don't you like watching those filthy things?" His hand moved slowly lower, his fingertips continuing their gentle torment. "I'm right here, wanna see for yourself." My brain felt like a zombie had scooped it out and eaten it. A tingling numbness spread across my scalp. "So pink, and you dare show it to others so casually." Julian lowered his head, and the tingling intensified. When my alarm went off, my mind was a total fog. Last night felt like a dream. It must have been a dream, I told myself. There's no way Julian is that kind of twisted person. I turned my head and came face to face with Julian's fair, sweet face. His eyes were filled with an unshakable smile. "Good morning, damn it, he really is a pervert." Lifeless, I pushed him away and stumbled out of bed. As I brushed my teeth in front of the mirror, I noticed my eyelids were swollen. And there was a persistent, tender ache in my chest that sent a sharp sting through me whenever my shirt brushed against it. I couldn't help but glare at Julian, who was standing beside me. Away from the bed, he seemed to have put his gentle, kind mask back on. After I washed my face, Julian grabbed my wrist. He dragged me into a bathroom stall, holding 2 band-aids. He lifted my shirt, and I instinctively flinched away. "What are you doing?" "I have class soon." A playful smirk appeared on Julian's face. "What do you think I'm doing? I'm just putting a band-aid on you." He tore one open and carefully applied it. "Otherwise, during class, everyone will know that this spot." Julian's expression was innocent and pure, but his fingertip pressed down hard. "Was marked by a man." I rushed to class. The moment I sat down, I noticed strange looks from the people around me. I remembered Alex's little scene at the boba shop yesterday and figured it out. The news that I was gay had probably spread. Whatever, it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't trying to hide it anyway. I found an empty seat and sat down. The girl in front of me kept looking at me, hesitating before finally leaning back to whisper, "Leo, you should check the school forum." I opened my phone and saw a post from last night. Took a walk tonight and stumbled upon a very compromising situation. My hand trembled as I clicked on it. The accompanying photo made my vision go black. In the picture, Alex and I were standing very close, his hand in a place it shouldn't be. The blurry quality of the photo gave it an undeniable, ambiguous intimacy. I scrolled down. The comment section was a dumpster fire. The bell rang, and I had to quickly put my phone away. I cursed Alex's entire family tree and the person who took the photo, too. When I took my phone out again after class, the post had been completely wiped. The original poster had even come out with a public apology, claiming the photo was just a prank edit. That was fast. Alex probably had someone take it down. I slung my bag over my shoulder and walked out of the classroom, only to see a man standing under a camphor tree, talking on the phone. His eyes were fixed on the stairwell, locking with mine the moment I saw him. The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I instinctively turned to run in the other direction. I didn't get 2 steps before the strap of my backpack was snagged. The man looked at me with a half smile. "Where do you think you're running, you little brat?" I forced a pleasant smile. "Vince, what are you doing here?" It was quiet in the car. I kept my head down, not daring to speak. "Leo, you seem to be having quite an eventful time at school." I laughed awkwardly. "It's been all right." I couldn't help but glance at my brother, Vincent. "Vince, did you get that post taken down for me?" Vincent let out a cold huff, which I took as a yes. We drove off campus and into a nearby residential complex. I tried to make small talk. "Did you buy a place here?" Vincent parked the car and tossed me a key. "I bought it for you. Go up and see if you like it." I looked down and didn't take it. "You don't have to. I'm fine living in the dorms." Vincent's expression turned irritated. "Fine, your dorm is full of all sorts of messed up people." His words stung. They're normal people, I retorted. Vincent's brow furrowed. I don't care, you're not living with them. I looked up at my brother's face and saw the faint disgust there. Alex's family and Julian's family both had business dealings with him. There was no way he disliked them. He just disliked people like us. I took a deep breath and opened the car door. As I got out, I heard Vincent's strained voice. Leo, Mom and Dad are gone. You're the only family I have left. I couldn't help but look up at the sky. I know, I replied. I knew, I'd always known. Vincent had said the same thing to me on my 18th birthday. I walked back to school. It was clearly summer, but I felt like I was soaking in formaldehyde. A corpse that couldn't rest in peace. Stupid Vincent. Rotten Vincent. He drags me out here and doesn't even buy me a decent meal. I felt a fog creeping into my eyes and kept wiping them with the back of my hand. Suddenly, a male voice cut through the air. Yo, Alex, isn't that your rumored other half? I looked up to see a group of guys standing in front of me. A blonde one bumped Alex's shoulder and asked, playing with fire, So, Alex, is it true? Are you two an item? Alex scowled and kicked the guy's leg. Shut up, don't talk nonsense. Then Alex looked down at me. You're pathetic, crying over something so small. If you know what's good for you, stay away from Julian. Otherwise, you'll have a lot more to cry about. I looked straight into his eyes, noticing how long his eyelashes were. Then I gave him a one-word response, idiot. Alex's eyes darkened and he grabbed my collar. Say that again. Is this guy a masochist? He wants to hear me insult him again. I glanced at the guys behind him, then smiled at Alex. You know, I'm just realizing you're actually pretty handsome. Alex's expression went blank. Then I grabbed a fistful of his hair and planted a kiss on his lips. You bastard, watch me gross you out. The guys around us started hooting and hollering. I pressed harder, biting down on his lip. Then I licked my own lips and put on my sleaziest expression. Your lips are pretty sweet, baby. The guys got even more excited, their cheers loud enough to shake the nearby academic building. While Alex was still stunned, I saw my chance and made a run for it. I didn't feel like I could finally breathe until I was back in the dorm. What a day, what a series of completely insane events. I dropped my backpack and chugged some water from a bottle on my desk, only then realizing Julian was the only one in the room. He was sitting quietly at his desk, looking at something on his computer. Given what happened last night, my image of him as a sweet, beautiful angel was shattered. I didn't bother greeting him and decided to order some takeout. I just unlocked my phone when I saw a friend had sent me a couple of links. I clicked on them and discovered my gossip profile had grown by 2 new stories. One was titled Local College Student Kept by Rich Man, and the other was Local College Student Forcibly Kisses Fellow Male Student. I opened them. Both had photo evidence. College students really have too much time on their hands. I felt like I was about to make my celebrity debut. Just as I was about to close the page, my phone was snatched from my hand. Julian's eyes were rimmed with red. Leo, how could you? How could I what? I wondered if I was losing my memory. Did I somehow, at some point, pledge my undying love to Julian and promise we'd be together forever and ever? My head started to ache. Dude, what on earth are you so upset about? Julian gripped my chin. Isn't this the side of me you like? You were so obedient last night. How can you turn on me today? You better clarify what you mean by that. I was about to argue, but then a tongue was in my mouth. I tried to push him away, but Julian didn't budge. His hand slid under my shirt, tearing off the band-aids. Julian's fingertips were calloused, and he used those rough pads to rub against my skin over and over. Suddenly, the dorm room door flew open. Alex's disbelieving roar filled the room. What the hell are you two doing? I was tired, truly. At this point, if someone told me the sun came out at night, I'd believe them. I just wished Alex would keep his voice down. Otherwise, there'd be new gossip about me tomorrow. Julian released me. It's exactly what it looks like. I took a deep breath and started spinning a desperate lie. Julian is just jealous he was kissing me to taste you on my lips. That's right, we gays are just that complicated. Then a sharp pain shot through my chest. I realized Julian's hand was still under my shirt. Alex looked completely bewildered, his gaze falling to my chest. Julian slowly pulled my shirt back down, but his other hand was still applying pressure with his fingertips, making the pain worse. Alex walked out looking lost. I guessed he'd had enough blows for one day. First a broken heart, then getting kissed by his rival. I smacked Julian's hand away. Satisfied. Can you cut it out now? Julian still had those wide, innocent eyes. I wasn't using you, I really like you. I snatched my phone back. What do you like about me? Julian replied without a second of thought. You're especially pink, I like that a lot. I should just slap him into next week. As if afraid I didn't believe him, he started listing things. Your lips are soft and pink, your face is sometimes pink, and even, I clapped a hand over his mouth. Any more in this story wouldn't get published. I sized him up. You're not so bad yourself. Hearing this, Julian generously offered, you can touch me too. No, thank you. Life in the dorm finally calmed down. By calm, I mean Alex stopped hovering around Julian and stopped looking for trouble with me. He started leaving early and coming back late, as if he was afraid of walking in on Julian and me like last time. He probably regretted moving in. Julian, on the other hand, had taken to climbing into my bed in the middle of the night. Honestly, I was worried he had some kind of split personality. He seemed so normal during the day. But the second he got near a bed, it was like he couldn't wait to unleash every dirty thought in his head. A few times, even Alex couldn't take it anymore. He'd rip open the curtain and stare coldly at our dog and pony show. There are other people in this room. Can you two have some decency? Yes, well said. At least he was finally aiming his criticism at both of us. Julian seemed to have some kind of skin hunger. He'd just cling to me, a sticky mess, and not let go. How was I supposed to sleep? Only Mark, that simpleton, could sleep through it, his snores a constant, rumbling drone. Julian lifted his head and scoffed. Alex, don't tell me you want to join in. Alex's face flushed crimson and he stammered, You, that's of course not. Julian's arm tightened around my waist. You couldn't, even if you wanted to. The curtain was drawn shut. Julian pressed his face into the crook of my shoulder. Leo, let's be boyfriends. I pinched his cheek, then closed my eyes and replied, I'll think about it. I had to admit I was tempted. Maybe I was just a person starved for affection. I'd fall for anyone who stayed by my side. I got a message from Vincent. He said he was sending a driver to pick me up on Sunday. At the party, I forced a smile and handed my gift to Vincent. Vince, congratulations on your engagement. I bought this with the money from my part-time job. Vincent smiled as he took the box, clapping my shoulder. All right, it's the thought that counts. I greeted the woman standing next to him. Charlotte, congratulations. Charlotte Lynn smiled gently. It's been so long since I've seen you, Leo. You must be busy with school. I nodded vaguely, my eyes catching a familiar figure in my peripheral vision. Julian was wearing a white suit today, which only served to make his lips look redder and his teeth whiter, almost like a young girl's. He strode toward us and threw an arm around my shoulder. Leo, there you are. I've been looking all over for you. My body went stiff. I didn't dare look at my brother's face. Julian, however, chatted casually with Charlotte for a few moments before dragging me away under my brother's murderous gaze. I followed Julian to a small garden behind the banquet hall. It was summer and the trellis was covered in blooming red roses. I pulled my hand from Julian's and thanked him. Julian patted my head. Anything for my future boyfriend. You can just give me a few extra kisses tonight. I smiled and turned away. You're impossible. We sat together on a swing set and he told me stories from his childhood. About how he tried to recreate a petal shower from a TV show by stripping all the roses his mom had planted, which ended with her forcing him to wear a dress for 3 days. Maybe it was the gentle moonlight, but every word he spoke sounded like a declaration of love. A lot of people were at the party. Julian couldn't stay with me for long before his father sent someone to get him. I hid in a corner and had a few too many drinks, my head starting to spin. When no one was looking, I left the hall and found an empty room to rest in. When I closed my eyes, all I could see was the image of Vincent and Charlotte standing together. I hated myself in that moment like a rat hiding in a sewer. In a daze, I sensed someone standing over me. I forced my eyes open but could only make out a blurry, dark figure. The person turned to leave and I grabbed his hand. Vince, I called out softly. The figure stopped. I held onto his arm tighter. I wanted to tell him not to go, not to get engaged, and definitely not to get married, but I was afraid of seeing the disappointment in his eyes. I could only bury my hand in his palm and murmur, Vince, congratulations on your engagement. If I'm a good, obedient little brother, we can be a family forever. The person's breathing hitched. He cupped my cheek, his voice low and heavy. What's going on between you and Julian? I answered honestly. We're roommates, and maybe he'll be my boyfriend. The man let out a cold snort. Is this how you seduce him? The hand on my face tightened, and it became hard to breathe. I weakly hit his arm. Vince, let go. He didn't, so I just kept calling out. Vince, 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 the man cursed under his breath. The hand on my face finally loosened. Then, a warm breath washed over my face, and someone's mouth was on mine. I opened my eyes and met a pair of dark, stormy irises. It was Alex. He didn't know how to kiss. He just bit at my lips as if venting his frustration. To be honest, it was like being attacked by an innocent puppy that only knows how to bite. He was nothing compared to Julian. I tentatively extended the tip of my tongue, brushing it against his lips. Alex's eyes flew open in shock and he shot upright. He covered his mouth, looking at me in disbelief. "You're a pervert," I couldn't help but laugh, and I said with genuine sincerity, "Alex, you're actually kind of cute." Alex's face looked like it was about to catch fire. He glared at me, then fled like a princess who had just lost her glass slipper. I took a cab back to school by myself. As I was leaving, I saw the gift I'd given Vincent tossed in a corner with a pile of other things. He hadn't even opened it. Vincent really was the worst. I was done liking him. When I got back to the dorm, I realized the other three were gone, probably at class. I could smell the lingering alcohol on me, so I grabbed a clean set of clothes from my closet and went into the bathroom. The warm water flowed down from overhead, and I let out a huge breath. I really loved showering. It always gave me the urge to burst into song. As I washed, I imagined I was a pop superstar. Every drop of water was a fan. When I emerged from the shower, satisfied, I saw Alex leaning against the bathroom door, watching me. He was wearing a white t-shirt and shorts, already soaked with sweat. Through the semi-transparent fabric, I could see his firm, honey-colored pecs and their darker centers. Julian's were pinker. I couldn't help but compare, then immediately felt hopeless. Seeing me staring at his chest, Alex instinctively crossed his arms to cover himself. "What are you looking at?" I looked up and noticed his ears were bright red. Seeing him act so innocent, I couldn't resist teasing him. "Hey, now we've already kissed. Are you telling me I'm not even allowed to look?" Now Alex's neck was red too. He shot me a glare and then ducked into the bathroom. The sound of the shower started. I went back to my bed and opened my tablet. Just as I was about to resume the show I was watching, I heard a shout from the bathroom. "Leo, bring me some clothes." I lay on my bed, teasing him. "Say, Daddy." Alex refused. "If you don't bring them, I'm coming out naked." I let out a whistle. "Sounds good to me. I'm gay, so I might as well enjoy the free show." The bathroom went completely silent. Once I'd had my fun, I got up and grabbed some clean clothes from Alex's closet, then knocked on the bathroom door. I passed the clothes through the crack, but my wrist was suddenly seized by a large, wet hand. With a sharp tug, I was pulled into the bathroom. In the swirling steam, Alex's eyes seemed especially dark and bright. He stared at me intently. "That was my first kiss, so am I supposed to apologize?" His fingers brushed against my lower lip. "You've kissed Julian so many times." I got ripped off. Before I could respond, Alex pressed me against the tiled wall. In just one night, his progress was terrifying. His warm, damp skin was under my palm. I couldn't resist giving it a squeeze. It was surprisingly firm. My fingers brushed against his chest, and his kiss turned fierce, demanding. The atmosphere in the dorm has been a little strange lately. Even Mark noticed. He applied for a room change, afraid that if he stayed any longer, he'd end up turning gay too. His concern wasn't entirely baseless. Besides him, the only straight thing left in the room was the bed frames. As summer break approached, Alex's school basketball team had a game against another university. That evening, Alex awkwardly asked me to come watch. "It's just a regular game. You could learn a thing or two about basketball." "You can come or not, I don't really care. Plenty of people will be there to bring me water." His meaning couldn't have been more obvious, but I decided to mess with him. I put on a troubled expression. "But Julian asked me to go out to dinner with him that day." Hearing this, Alex got agitated. "I don't care, you have to come. If you don't, I'll tell Julian I've kissed you too." This felt an awful lot like a mistress threatening to tell the wife. I feigned an innocent, fearful look. Okay, I'll go, just don't tell Julian." Alex's expression stiffened. He turned away, muttering, "That's the only trick you know, seducing people." A dirty mind sees dirt everywhere, Alex. The basketball arena was packed. Even with the AC blasting, the air was thick with a feverish heat. Luckily, Alex had saved me a seat. I found the spot, 2 water bottles in hand, and realized the person next to me was Julian. When Julian saw me, his face fell into a pout. "Honey, you came to a basketball game and didn't even tell me." His voice wasn't loud, but the people around us heard. A few girls in the front row turned around, their faces shocked. When they saw it was Julian who had spoken, they were even more shocked. One of the girls sighed, "It's over." "I think my favorite campus ship is really sinking." Another one comforted her, "It's okay. In a way, them falling for the same guy is its own kind of tragic romance." I wanted to say, "Ladies, could you maybe not talk about us when we're sitting right behind you?" My head was starting to hurt. There were probably going to be more weird forum posts tomorrow. On the court, Alex, dressed in his white jersey, looked over at me. When he saw Julian sitting next to me, his expression clearly changed. Julian, however, was in a great mood and waved cheerfully at him. As the game started, Alex focused all his energy on the court. He was undoubtedly the most eye-catching player, tall, handsome, with a lean, muscular build like a young panther. After sinking several three-pointers in a row, the arena was filled with cheers for him. My gaze was fixed on the court when a hand suddenly covered my eyes. Julian was leaning in close, his warm breath tickling my ear. "You're not allowed to look at him," I laughed and patted his hand. "Why are you being so childish?" Julian mumbled. "You said you'd think about it." During halftime, Alex came up to the stands, dripping with sweat, and held out his hand to me. I went to pass him the water, but my hand was stopped by Julian. "Choose, him or me." Hearing this, Alex's gaze swept over Julian and me before he took the water bottle from my hand. In the second half of the game, Alex was clearly distracted. Fortunately, they had already built up a solid lead, so the outcome of the game was never really in doubt. People began to file out of the arena, and the vast space quickly emptied. Only Julian and I were still in our seats. Julian's eyes and nose were red. He looked at me pitifully. "Tell me, you chose him, didn't you?" God, that little face, that expression. I felt like a criminal. "No," I explained, "I was just giving him some water." "Then have you made up your mind?" My lips parted, but then I saw Alex, who had changed his clothes, walking toward us. He must have just showered. His hair was still dripping. He sat down on my right, and a drop of water fell from his hair into my collar. Alex apologized earnestly. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have poured that boba on you, and I shouldn't have littered." He paused. "Leo, can you give me a chance to make it up to you?" Julian shot to his feet. "Alex, have you no shame?" I confessed to Leo first. "Are you trying to be the other man?" Alex stood up, not backing down. "The one who isn't loved is the other man. I'm just competing with you fairly. Are you scared?" They glared at each other for a full 30 seconds before turning to me in unison, their voices merging. "Leo, you decide." I stood up and patted both of their heads, then looked at them with a broad smile. "Well, that depends on who's more obedient. Whoever behaves better gets to be my boyfriend." I walked out of the basketball arena. The evening sky was ablaze like a fire. The hottest part of summer, it seemed, was just about to begin.